Hey, I'm just going to sit here and stare at the camera while you guys stare at me. Here's the question. Gentlemen, it's Friday. Or as Jon Andersen would say, it's just another day on the calendar. But boys, are you living for yourself or are you living for somebody else? That's the question we are answering today. Mornings in the Lab with our guest, Matt Freed. Hello. Yep, we're going at it again. Another day of the week. We show up every single day, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the only morning show. I'm sweaty. I had a run this morning. The only morning show that gets you boys, gets your asses out of bed, gives you something to think about, and moves you in that direction. That's true. That direction right over there. The one over there. The one going forward. Don't hit the snooze button. Don't do it. Get that habit stacking in, get your day started, and get rock and rolling. Hey, today we're coming up. We are talking about, are you living for likes or living for yourself? I tell you guys, a lot of us get up every single day and we're living for somebody else. We're looking around going, I got to do that because that's what they're doing. Oh, I guess my neighbor is doing that, so I should probably do that too. Or I see that person on LinkedIn or Instagram or X and I should do that too. We're always doing what somebody else is doing. Nation, I invite you to be like Jon Andersen, be yourself. I invite you to be like CMartyFit, be yourself. And I invite you to be like old Uncle Keith and be yourself. So today we're digging into that, and we're also going to get into some conversations around physical health, appearance, looks. No, those aren't the topics we're talking about today. We're getting into social status and popularity, aging and physical decline, and of course, self-worth. It's the week of talking about men's insecurities here in the lab. And it's Friday. There's energy. I can feel the energy on the other side of the mirror. And I'm not going to hold it back any further because I'm going to welcome in my friends, Jon Andersen, CMartyFit. Marty's bringing the glasses this morning. Oh, I love the glasses. Marty, good morning, boys.
What's up, man? It's Friday, man.
Yes, it is Friday.
What is it? Hold on. What is it?
I know. It's another day in the week in John's calendar.
It's another beautiful day is what it is. Come on now. Come on.
Yes. I'll tell you, Marty, I'll tell you something, pal. I suspect by the time that we're done this show, which is, I don't know, 20, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, Marty, when you're the same age as Johnny and myself, and we've gone on our ways, we are going to have changed all of business athlete nations that the fact there's just no days in the week. Yeah, it's just
that's a great goal.
It is, isn't it? It's just another day, Marty, right? So if we can teach men growing up, that there's no Mondays or Fridays or Thursdays, that every day is the same, and then if all you do is live a life of constantly stacking habits, Marty, you're gonna fucking win. Right, Johnny?
I'm sure John agrees with that.
It's a choice. That's the whole thing. It's just everybody doesn't quite understand. I shouldn't say everybody. Many people don't understand that you're one decision away from that new life. That's
true. It's absolutely true. Good morning. Good time. Good to have you here. Marty's working on a button for you. And hey, just a quick reminder to everybody in the comments, we are here to create a safe space for all of you. So everyone is welcome. We got some guardrails up, and listen, the guardrails are pretty loose. Say what you want, have some fun, throw some jabs at the host. But the moment you go outside the guardrails, and I'm gonna consider that. Oh, boys, breaking news. Sorry, I'm all about breaking news here in the lab as well. For those of you that are hockey fans, just received some really unfortunate news. Calgary Flames superstar Johnny Gaudreau just passed away in a car crash. So, yeah, I just received the news here on my phone here, and I don't want to take the air out of the show here this morning, nation. But I also want you to know, guys, as you're waking up and starting your day, this is a show where you can get current events, get information. It's trustworthy in a world of fake stuff. In a world of fake stuff, we're here to provide you trust and confidence because we show up every single day. That guy over there is Jon Andersen. It's real. John's real. The guy below me is CMartyFit Christopher Martin. He's real. We are real human beings. We're not some AI-generated characters. So there is a really high-profile hockey player, successful hockey player. I just got some breaking news here, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But if you guys are sports fans, I invite you to check that out. And obviously our sympathies and unfortunate.
Can I interject real quick right there, brother? It's terrible that this hockey player passed, but I think that people need to realize that when someone passes, especially someone they love, that don't let that change your life in a negative way. The person that passed wants to see people moving in the right direction because of their influence.
Yes.
So don't use someone's passing as a reason to let yourself slide off the rails and go off the edge. let that be a reason to move ahead, because you're going to be doing it in the honor of the person that passed.
Yeah. Johnny, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for helping me out with this conversation. Thanks for saving me there.
And spin it around, baby. This is positive. Yeah. I mean, it's tragic, but you know what? He motivated all of us to do better things, and let's do it in his honor.
Well, you know what, Johnny? And you know what, Marty? Let's just go in the rearview mirror 24 hours ago. We met a fellow who's the ultimate business athlete, right? Good morning, Aya. Good morning, Asha. Good morning, So Young. Good morning, White Devil. Good morning, Professional. Good morning, all of you. We met a fellow yesterday in the lab, right, who had a difficult deck of cards dealt to him, as he was going through his journey in life. And he had a choice, right, John? Right, Marty? Which was to kind of pack it up and deal with what he was served, Rich Ingram, or he was going to go and get through it. And the dude embraced it and took that incident in Iraq and turned it into an exceptional pivot in his life.
He just kept playing the game. He didn't quit.
Yes. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning. And I think, Marty, do we have so Marty, I got a note from Enzo last night. I got a note from the Future last night. He
what are you talking about?
I know Future is not in the comments right now, but Future landed, Marty, where he went to go camping. And he sent me a note last night, and he sent me a note a couple of days ago saying, I'm going here. And then he sent me another one saying expectations versus reality. And the note that he sent shows like just clouds and mountains and nothing there to see. So I figured we'd have Enzo here this morning, but I guess he's not here this morning at the moment. So yes, we are kicking off the show here. We got Matt Free joining us in a few moments. We're going to bring Matt and we're going to bring Kristina in. I got a few current event topics. And of course, we broke that news here a few moments ago, but unfortunately, Johnny Gaudreau. Boys, Johnny, you're down in the other part of California. How was your day yesterday, pal? What's going on for you?
I went golfing for the first time in probably about 6 or 7 years. It was,
oh man.
Yeah. And let me tell you, when you don't, there's certain movements in life, when you're twisting like this, it's thoracic twist, right? That's to be your spine doing this.
Yes.
I got to tell you, I haven't had that much thoracic twist in one day in quite some time, 7 years to be exact. And my spine is definitely feeling that today. So I got up, got myself moving, opened it up. I thought, man, you know what? It was so good for me to see that I need to be more mobile in ways that my normal life is not keeping me mobile. So it was actually a fun and even more a learning experience that I need to be doing more thoracic twist type daily movements. Just like having the tight hamstrings, if you pick something up and you stay there for a second, well, now I'm just going to find myself doing a little bit more of this stuff.
That's it. Marty, how was your day yesterday, buddy?
It was good, man. I work on my thoracic twist every day. So, so I can avoid
What is it that you do? What is it? What activity are you thoracic twisting?
No, it's a stretch. Like I do like a kind of yoga style stretch every day. So
okay, right on.
Twisting there, man.
So, I didn't know if you're going to tell us some crazy bedroom story or something.
You'll never hear me talk about the bedroom. I might open up on here, but I'm not going to open up like you guys.
Is that white boy humor?
It's definitely white boy humor. Yeah. It's okay, man. I still love you guys.
I'm having a hard time, Marty, wrapping my head around Andersen swinging a golf club because he's not a little dude, and I know that. I'm just envisioning, right? The stance, the shifting the shoulders and shifting the back and just the whole swing, Marty. Can you envision that, Christopher Martin?
I'm positive I would have like 50 jokes for John if I watched that.
Yeah.
Well, you'd love it even more if you saw it, because here's the thing. You know me, I simplify things. And so the swing is a very complicated movement, right?
Yes.
So basically, if I just take that backswing, it only goes parallel to the ground. None of this stuff. Because I can keep it straight from here to here. You get me up here, by the time it gets down here, you never know where that ball's going to go. So it's just this little simple pop. I just keep bumping it out there, and I stay in the game.
Simple strategy to win, basically.
I lost one ball. And the whole time, and here's the thing. It was because it was right after we came in after the ninth. We had something to eat. My my shit stiffened up. So when I came out on the 10th hole, I was like having a hell of a time with the twist, and I duffed that son of a bitch in the water. That was the only ball I lost.
They're talking smack. You know you're on the right track.
There you go.
You know, I can see a series here. Jon, old school bodybuilder in modern day situations, starring Jon Andersen. Right?
Oh yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
We got to get Jon on the basketball court.
Oh, we got to get Jon on the basketball
brother.
court. Yeah.
Brother, you know what I'm really, really, really good at on the basketball court?
Jesus.
I'm really good at fouling the hell out of you.
Jon is sending people out on the stretcher.
Marty.
It's just you go up for a shot and it's just tomahawk time.
Oh,
it's none of this. I'm coming down. Something's got to get hit to keep that ball from going up.
All right, so I gotta bring in our guests here because I got a topic. I got to bring on producer Flynn and Matt Fried onto the show here because I got something that I wanted to throw out there to keep the show moving along here, Marty. You know,
that means let's not play basketball is what that means.
Well, we can invite Adam House to play basketball. We could put Jon on hockey. Jon, have you played hockey before? Have you skated before, Jon?
You know, I'll tell you, I can't say that. The last time I skated, I got a massive concussion. So, this was back when I was just a little guy. So that was the end. I got such a bad concussion. My mom said, "You're not going on ice skates anymore, dude."
Oh my god.
What's going on, Matt Fried? What's going on, Kristina Flynn?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We're rocking.
What's up, brother? What's up, Kristina?
Can I get on the court with Jon?
Oh, I think that'd be fun.
You know, that's a great. I don't know that I could. I just who I am and the way I was raised. I'm such a mama's boy. I don't think I could play my normal game with you, Kristina. So I probably would have to play. I'd have to play with a little bit more finesse. I guess just play a little more honest game of basketball. So that's a good. You probably would whoop.
I need to get you on the
hell
court.
out.
You can't. You're not going to hit me. I know you won't. You're a baby like that.
No, I couldn't.
If I get on the court, you gonna mess me
own
up.
You.
Yeah, you get on the court, you're getting body slammed. That's
crazy, man.
Oh man. You're joining Keith Bilous, CMartyFit, Jon Andersen, producer Kristina Flynn, and our guest Matt Fried here. Mornings in the lab with Keith and friends, hanging out here, kicking off the conversation. The first 15 minutes. Marty, Johnny's got the energy here today, man. Did he drink something last night? Because he's just on fire right now. Am I right? Flynn? He's on fire.
You want to know what it is? It's you guys haven't picked up my hustle yet. All I got to do is keep swinging my shit around, and Marty keeps pushing my button.
Well, yesterday you were talking about swinging your dick around, so now you're swinging your shit around.
All right, guys.
Well, I was just trying to be a little more polite when I said shit. I don't swing shit. I swing my dick, and if I swing my dick, Marty pushes my button. So I just keep swinging.
I was cutting the show yesterday, and I was thinking, there's Johnny Andersen talking about, I was the young Jon Andersen. I was all. That's when you were talking about how when you thought you were young and handsome, right? Because you're like, no, I'm not handsome anymore. You said yesterday, John. You're like, no, I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah, I might be, but I don't really give. I don't care.
That's it. So listen, we're coming up to the accountability check-in here in a moment. We're going to get to know Matt Fried. Matt Fried's obviously a friend of the lab. He's been here a few times. If you guys haven't met Matt before, I'm sorry. That means you haven't tuned into the show. Matt is a rock star in the lab here. He's been around a few times with us. He is he runs Level 1 Nutrition. He helps men lose fat, get fit, gain energy with low stress routines that stick, especially guys 40 plus. So hey, we're all talking to the same audience here. So you need some expert help. You might want to go knock on Matt Fried's door. But boys and girls, before we get into the accountability check-in. No, actually, here's what we're going to do. We're going to come back to this topic. I got a fun topic here, guys. And this one is absolutely related to fitness and lifestyle. And Flynn has no idea where I'm going with this one. But I have a good one. I have a really good one. No animals involved. Pure humans. Humans and fun. But before we get to that, we're going to do the accountability check-in. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to have you guys on your seat. Johnny, go for a pee. Marty, go for a stretch. Matt, get ready for the big chat. And Flynn, get ready. All right, so let's do this. Johnny, Jimmy, Marty, let's go. All right. Oh, I like the topic coming up. Hey, it's the accountability check-in. It's that time on the show where we get you guys going, get you motivated, put something in your head to consider throughout the day. And today's topic, have you ever told yourself that you're enough? That you're enough today? Because we chase enough like it's the finish line. Enough money, enough success, enough recognition. But when you're focused on the goal, you know, the one over there at the end, you know, the Stanley Cup, you know, the World Series, the Super Bowl, the sales title, you know, when you're focused on the goal, you miss out on the journey. And I would argue the journey is the most important thing. You've already had enough. You already are enough. Self-worth, it doesn't come from over there. Don't look to the outside to measure your self-worth. That's not the way about it. It's not from achievements or praise. That self-worth, it comes from you. That own mirror you're looking at this morning as you're starting your day, gentlemen. So stop waiting. Stop waiting for the world outside you to give you that recognition you want. Stop waiting for the world to validate you. Damn it, start validating yourself. I don't care how old you are. Take that time to validate yourself every single day. Because regardless of what somebody else thinks of you, you're enough. Trust me, you're enough. Always. That's the accountability check, and we drop it every single day around this time to help you guys consider something to get your ass going. And I'll tell you, I get comments throughout the day on my LinkedIn platform saying, hey, you said something this morning which stuck with me. So tune in 15 minutes after the hour to give you something to get your day going and help you see if you be motivated and rock and roll forward. All right, there's our accountability check-in. Team, we're getting to big conversation today around, are you living for likes or living for yourself? But before we do that, I got a current event topic I want to throw on the table here. And that topic here, team, is this is a good one. Because it involves the work Jon does. It involves the work Marty does. It involves the work Matt does. High intensity interval training might help with premature ejaculation.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
It is. So a study in China found that practicing high intensity interval training for 7 minutes per day. Now, gentlemen, I didn't say have sex for 7 minutes per day. Practice.
I thought that was hit.
I was gonna say if you're mastering your domain for 7 minutes, there and you're doubling for high intensity at the same time, we got the answer is here.
That's hit. That's hitting it. So that's hit.
There we go. Marty's humor is getting better with the glasses, man. Keep those things on, brother. Let's go.
So a study in China found that high-intensity interval training for 7 minutes per day, Matt Freed, reduced premature ejaculation symptoms after day 12. Yeah. So men with better attention regulation and those with larger increases in heart rate after sex tended to have fewer premature ejaculation symptoms. Now, let's frame it out here. High intensity training, we know what that is, right? It's a high intensive workout. Now, granted, this wasn't the largest sample, but the sample was done with 76 heterosexual men, aged between the ages of 18 to 34, and results showed, team, that premature ejaculation symptoms decreased in the HIT group and in the control group, but not in the slow breathing group. The point was that attention regulation scores improved across all three groups. Now, the study suggests that potential of using specific physical training regimens to alleviate premature ejaculation symptoms. However, the data collected were based on self-reports. Now, what the researchers found was you had to have a regular partner. You got paid $45 for participation in the story. On days 12, 13, and 14 of the intervention, premature ejaculation symptoms were lower in the HIT group compared to the control group. So I got to tell you, gentlemen, if you're tuning in right now and you're having some troubles controlling the trigger, I'm going to invite you to do some HIT today. Do some HIT for the next couple of weeks and you might find some better control on the trigger. Johnny, Marty, Matt, comments on this whole topic? Thoughts?
I think if you need to have a little better stamina, pull the trigger by yourself before you pull the trigger with your partner, and you're going to be just fine.
Hard to argue.
Empty the clip, an hour or so before, and you're going to be good.
Something about Mary, right?
That's exactly it.
But something about Mary, just put it into the public. I mean, those of us who have half a brain, but doing that since the jump, as soon as all it takes is 1 or 2, 3, the 3-pump dump, and you're like, okay, I got a problem on my hands. How do I fix this? And I started problem solving this thing right away. Long before something about Mary came out.
Now, granted, Johnny, I can look to you in this one. There is some judgment on this study because the study was done with men between the ages of 34. You and I are out of that control group. We've learned all the tricks and trades of all of that. So this is yes. So the
Kristina.
So the 18 to 34-year-olds, it's HIT will increase and improve your sexual performance in the bedroom. Hey, there you go. There's a little tip this morning. Mornings in the lab. Kristina Flynn, you had no idea that was coming out of the blue. Hey, there's no dolphins, there's no donkeys, no goats, just human activity, man.
No judgment on the topic. Judgment on the sample size of 76, and why does it matter if they're heterosexual or not? I don't understand this. This is irrelevant stuff.
It certainly is a bizarre survey to have happen, and it's legit too. It's been published in the International Journal of Clinical and Health Psychology. So, as we're building the show here, I find myself subscribing to all these obscure journals of topics, so I can give you guys things to consider. But speaking of, did you guys know there's a massive problem coming right now in the world with fake science being produced by AI?
Really?
Yes. There's enormous amounts of fake reports, Johnny, being published by these AI platforms and then wrapping it up in truth. So I invite you guys, as you're doing your research and looking into, so just because it's wrapped in science, I'd invite you to take that second step. And I'm being serious. There's fakery here, fakery there, and just because it says it's from the journal of Keith Science House doesn't mean it's legit. So there's some massive problems.
Someone sent me a scientific study about you being in a certain tax bracket, and that's why you're obese. And there's a scientific study behind it. So there's no way I believe that science. You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
Hold up, though. What was the tax bracket? Because there's a conversation there.
Well, I don't want
status has a great correlation to
exactly. Well, I don't want to go there because I don't want to take over the show. But me living in the neighborhood where I live, and knowing the mindsets and being around the people, and we could talk about that all day. So
another show.
Yeah, another show. Yeah.
Topic. Good morning, good time. Thanks for having you here, and of course, Jack Dugan. You joined yesterday. You popped by our show, and you're like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Jack, thanks for coming back. I hope you subscribe to the show. I know you stumbled upon this yesterday and you said, wow, this is a positive show around, good goals and good stuff. And this is true. We wake up every single day helping you guys achieve your biggest, most audacious goals here in the lab. Myself, Jon Andersen, producer Flynn, CMartyFit, and our guest, Matt Freed. So guys, Matt is the mastermind behind Level 1 Nutrition. He's offering a roadmap to health so foolproof that you're going to ace your annual checkup every time. The dude's been around, nation. Over 2 decades of personal experience, hundreds of successful transformations. Matt helps men and women. I think he focuses mostly on men, though, Matty? Over 40, avoid the pitfalls of aging with his proven gimmick-free approach. But Matt, before we get into it, pal, I really want to know about you human-wise. You've been under the weather for the last couple of weeks, pal. You feeling better, buddy?
I'm feeling much better. Very excited to join today. Feel like I'm finally back. Haven't even been on LinkedIn much at all in the last 2 weeks, but I'm back now. So,
what was dragging you down, pal?
A couple of weeks ago I had COVID, then I had some kind of respiratory thing, and it took me a little while to shake it, but I'm feeling good now.
Awesome. Well, I'm really happy to have you here, man. I know when we were looking at guests and we got to bring Freed in the lab. He's a friend of the show. He's more than a friend. He's a family member of the show, man. We welcome him back here anytime. How's the family, Matty? You good?
Yeah, we're doing good.
That's awesome. So one more thing I want to get into before we get into before we go to the fit tip and then we get into our main topic today. Jon, I'm going to look at you again, pal, because we're of a generation here. So I was doing some reading last night. Marty, I'm going to look to you, and Maddie, I think, so you're in between all of us here, but I read a story last night. Boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials are sharing the wildly dangerous and or illegal things they did as kids. And I read through some of this and I thought to myself, I can't imagine doing some of these things with my kids. And one of them is, John, did you ever drive around in the back of your parents' station wagon or in the back of the pickup truck, just sitting in the back bed and hanging out back there while mom and dad or mom or your family is driving you around?
Well, absolutely. And here's the thing, back when, first off, we were in the country, we had a farm. So, I mean, this was activity, it was 35 acres, so from the front to the back of it was so you're always in the back of the truck. I mean, hell, I was driving tractors down the middle of the street, nobody, I just kind of had there was a chunk of my upbringing that was very different. And in those days, I don't even remember seeing a police car on my street. I mean, it wasn't even a street. We're talking country road. It was 45 minutes to the nearest store for me to go buy some chewing gum, for God's sake. So I was out there, but that was very regular behavior. But I
know, Marty, could you imagine? You've met my kids. You've met all my kids. Could you imagine me throwing my kids into the back of a pickup truck and saying, "Hey, Marty, let's head on down to the gym," and the kids are sitting in the back of the bed, and we're driving to Focus Fitness where you, me, and Maurice went. And they're just hanging out back there.
I mean, I wouldn't imagine you doing that, but I've done that a couple times.
Oh, so you have as well, eh?
Yeah, I've been on the back of a couple trucks.
Yeah, Maddie, were you raised that way too, or was that beyond you?
I mean, I'm 44, so I'm a Gen Xer.
Yeah,
and we did a lot of stupid stuff back then, but honestly, I don't think that's for our youth today. Like, I'm not saying everyone should go hop in the back of the pickup truck, but they have other things to deal with now that we didn't then that are probably more dangerous.
It's incredible too when you think back to it. One of them was when my parents needed to have the car serviced, they would take it to the local full service station and let us stay inside the car as it was raised off the lift 10 feet into the ground, and dad just let us sit in there while they were doing work underneath the car. Right. Or my dad would put me in like a big dump truck bucket, lift it up in the yard there and drive around the yard with me sitting in the dump truck bucket. Like, can you just imagine adults doing that with their kids today? And then Karen, standing over there saying, "Marty, John, you can't do that with your kids in that bucket."
I mean, this is also at a time when there was no seatbelt laws either.
Right. You had an older sibling holding a younger sibling on their lap instead of
in their lap,
that kind
in the car. Yeah, not wearing a seatbelt as well.
That's
crazy.
I look back at some of these things and I just, I'd go out hunting, with BB guns and pellet guns, Johnny, out to the farm there, and we just walk around and shoot things. Like, I just don't think people are doing that today. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not something you're doing.
Speaking of shooting things, my brother and I used to shoot each other, man. It was like, I can't tell you how many times I caught a BB in the ass. That was back when the jeans were thick enough to stop that BB from penetrating the skin. You wanted him to hit the pocket because there was that extra layer of denim. If he didn't hit the pocket, you were very, very possibly gonna have a little bit of a wound.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Hey, Jack Dugan comes in with a question. Team, I've been doing great with my weight loss journey, but I've been stuck on a weight all week. Is this normal? Usually I lose sometimes something, but this week it has been stagnant, less than 20 gram daily carbs. Let's go around the table. Maddie, thoughts on this?
Yes. We don't have a lot. We need a little more information, but yes, it's absolutely normal to occasionally hit a plateau. Depends on a lot of things that might be going on in your life. Have you been sleeping? Have you been stressed? What have you been eating? And we could dig into each of those things, but a week, I try to remind people about the weight loss journey. It's like, you're not going to lose weight every day and maybe not every week. And if something isn't moving for 1 or 2 weeks, then you might want to make a change. But I typically recommend people, like, after 2 weeks, if you're going to implement a change, it's best to wait 2 weeks before making another change in most cases.
Oh yeah. There you go. Johnny, Marty, any offering comments on that as well?
Go ahead, John.
100%. The majority of my clients are looking for a recomp. They want to build muscle, drop body fat, which means the scale doesn't reflect that, because if you build muscle and drop body fat, the scale doesn't really. So I always let my clients know that the scale is just one small piece of the puzzle. the way their clothes are fitting is really what tells the tale. So if the scale doesn't move for 2 weeks, but they had to cut a new hole in their belt, we're right on track.
Yeah. Marty?
Yeah, I agree with Johnny. Focus on recomp. Don't focus on the scale. And if you are going to focus on recomp, I would recommend that you eat more than 20 grams of carbs daily, because you'll be able to go harder in the gym, press more weight, which will lead to you burning more calories throughout the day.
Marty, lean into
build
that.
more muscle.
Lean into that, pal, because people get scared of carbs, man. And I know everybody on this show is not scared of carbs. Talk about carbohydrates, Marty, and the benefits of them, and encourage Jack to throw some carbs into his body.
Absolutely. Now, carbs, that's our fuel. That's our energy source, right? So, if you're going to the gym, you want to train to get stronger. You want to train for strength. You don't train for the weight loss or the fat loss at the gym. That happens outside of the gym. So in order to enhance that, you got to burn more calories. You have to increase your caloric expenditure, right? Put your body in a deficit. So you got to go harder in the gym, and you got to work at a higher intensity, and you need carbs for that.
I got to come back on this one. Here. So I have lots of my clients that basically, what I do is I'll start people off on a carb-free protocol, not to make them carb-free. I just want the signals of the body. The body's either going to say, hey, dipshit, where's your carbohydrates? Or it's going to say, I like this, keep on going. And you'd be alarmed at how many people actually their bodies really start to thrive without the carbohydrate. But keep in mind, there's a lot of elements to make that happen. Their micronutrients have to be sky high. They have to be eating on a schedule. They have to be hydrating properly. So the carbohydrate is one of those things. It's a little bit of a, not to say that you never want to include them, but the body will tell you what you need to do when it comes to most of this stuff. It's just we've never been trained to listen to the signals of our bodies.
Maddie?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything said. Most athletes need some carbohydrate, but they, of course, should listen to their body. But I mean, there are a lot of people walking around training hard, and then they're like afraid to eat a banana. And to me, carbs are a good source of fuel. If you're training hard, kind of like Chris was saying, you probably need some carbs, but you got to test it out, Yeah. To walk around eating 0 carbs a day or 10 grams of carbs a day, that's a very, very low carb diet. That's hard to maintain. And it's not optimal conditions for thriving in most cases,
Yes.
And that's a good point, brother. You know what I always say is it's intentionally digested carbohydrate, because it's almost impossible. Even vegetables are going to bring you fibrous carbs. So what I always say when I say, take the carbohydrate out, it's really the intentionally digested carb to do that initial test. Because goodness, you can't avoid a carbohydrate into the way that we live right now. They're everywhere. They soak in through the skin, for God's sake. They're floating around in the air.
every time I go past Five Guys or Chick-fil-A, I feel like I had some of that. I feel like it's getting through my skin.
Well, I think part of the problem.
I got a question. What the hell are you doing at a Five Guys or a Chick-fil-A to begin with, brother?
Yo, it's right. It's like even the healthy spots, they're right next to it. They're right by the gym. It's you can't avoid it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting it when you walk past the front door, not in the front door.
No, man, the vitamin shop is next door to the Five Guys here.
Perfect. So. I just want to make sure you're talking about walking in front of the Five Guys. As long as you're walking in front of the Five Guys, we're good, brother. We're good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Go to the Five Guys, go get some vitamins, and just make it all even, Marty?
My gym has Popeyes, McDonald's, Buffalo Wild Wings, pizza spot, all by the gym. Yeah, Olive Garden. Yeah,
I think the big conversation with carbohydrates, gentlemen, and this is good actually, because it's always linked to people want all the shitty carbs, and that's what we're really saying is just cut the shitty carbs out of your life. Like, go have a banana, go have an apple, go have a single ingredient food. And John's
I was waiting for that, brother. I was waiting for you to say that. I was gonna have to reach through the camera and give you a squeeze.
If there's one thing, again, the guy. So I'm not little. I'm not a young man here. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Every single day I get up and go through my kitchen. I think of Andersen here going, okay, single ingredient. Nope. So, yeah, it's not so much being afraid of carbs as it is just thinking about what's in the carbohydrate. A lot of carbs in this, and a lot of also crap in this thing, right? So, but
what happened to the X marks?
Oh, the X marks are there. I've kept them there.
Where's the X? I don't see the X.
There you go. There you go. See,
you see it, Marty? Yeah. I don't see it.
Yes.
Is that the same color pen, John? Is that a blue pen or a black pen, John?
I think he might have lost his discipline, ate the old one, and forgot to re-X the new one.
No, it's all X stuff, boys.
He tried to exit real quick.
I see it.
He tried to exit real quick before the show started.
There we go. Listen, let's get to the CMartyFit tip so we can bring the main conversation and keep this thing rolling on here with asking people, are you living for likes or living for yourself? Finding your true identity. Too many people, Johnny, Marty, are waking up trying to live for everybody else. And what I love about this show, I love, John, you live for your own mirror. Marty, you live for your own mirror. I live for my own mirror. I know Maddie Freed does, Kristina Flynn does, and that's what we're going to help Nation today is talk about living for yourself instead of living for everyone else. But before we do that, let's do this. Let's put Marty on stage. Oh, there we go.
All right, let's do it. We got the fitness tip for today. We're going to talk about injuries. All right. Injuries can halt your progress in the gym, but the good news is that most are preventable. Here's how you can train smart, stay injury-free. Know your limits. It's tempting to lift heavy or push yourself to match others, but sticking to weights and exercises that challenge you without feeling overwhelming is key. So, yes, you want to push yourself in the gym, but your body knows when too much is too much. Keep that in mind. Engage your core. A strong core stabilizes your entire body and protects your spine during lifts. So if you're doing a deadlift or a squat, you want to make sure or a row, you want to make sure you keep that neutral spine, right? Make sure your core is engaged. Your core is working on every exercise, but your form has to be right. So learn your form before you increase weight. Shoulders. Shoulder injuries are common because the joint is highly mobile and prone to strain. Keep your shoulders back and down during all lifts. Same thing. Form is big. Make sure when you're doing a shoulder exercise, you're actually working your shoulder and not using your elbows, right? If you're doing push-ups, make sure the elbows are going at a 45-degree angle and your elbows aren't out. That'll mess up your elbows and your shoulders, okay? Rotate your exercise. Avoid doing the same exercise every day. If you did leg day on Monday, let's hit back on Tuesday or a push day, right? Maybe let's do some HIIT or cardio like we were talking about HIIT earlier. Actual HIIT in the gym, not the other HIIT we were talking about earlier. Check your ego, all right? It's easy to want to go all out every session. Like I said earlier, you can't kill yourself every session, and just because you saw your favorite influencer lifting 405 does not mean you can lift 405, okay? Yes, progressive overload, but be smart with it, and come on. You don't gain any extra points by doing 405. And the last thing, cool down properly. After your workout, spend some time stretching. Jon Andersen, stretch, work on your rotation, work on twisting your trunk, right? And this will reduce soreness, maintain flexibility, and help your muscles recover. All right, so be mindful in the gym. You don't want to get hurt. And let's keep going. That's the fitness tip for today.
For the day with Marty's commentary, getting better every single day here in the lab. We got the glasses on, we got the commentary, we got the opinions, and Marty's bringing it. Love it, Marty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was awesome. That was exceptional this morning. Big fan of that here. All right, coming into the second half of the show here, we're getting into are you living for likes or living for yourself here? And I got a note here, and I forgot to offer this up at the beginning of the show. So, Nation, this is an explicit show. So if you have kids tuning in or kids hanging out in the kitchen or hanging out in the car or getting your day going, we just invite you to maybe put some earplugs on or put some headphones on yourself because might be a few F-bombs or a few comments coming out that just might offend the children. So just a heads up on that. And the other thing I wanted to make sure, and I want to get better at this, guys. I was thinking about this last night, but for those of you who are listening right now and not watching, I'm wearing a camo hat. It says fit on it. I'm wearing a black shirt. I'm wearing camo shorts. I'm wearing camo shoes. Johnny over there is wearing a black shirt, black hat. Got some nice black glasses on, Versace glasses. Maddie's got Maddie's got a red shirt on, some good old black headphones, and John, our good old friend Marty, he's got his red less brunches, more crunches t-shirt, his black glasses, sunglasses, rocking it today with a red headset of Beats. So offer that up to those of you that perhaps are just tuning in or maybe just aren't able to see. So I'm like, hey, this is what we're all about here today to help paint a picture to make life a little easier for all of you. So, folks, the last week, we've been leaning into the 14 main insecurities that men face. And again, this is a show where we talk about things you're not expecting us to talk about. We've already covered this week physical appearance, body image. Matt, we talked about career progress, financial stability. We leaned into sexual performance and endurance in the bedroom. We've been talking about emotional vulnerability and not being afraid to express our feelings as men, relationship stability, authenticity, living up to expectations, and fatherhood and parenting. Today, I wanted to continue our discussion around how we judge ourselves, whether we're living for ourselves, Matt, or whether we're living for somebody else. And I know, I went through a journey in my life where I thought I was living for somebody else until I had to figure out, no, I'm actually for myself. But guys, let's start it off. A 2023 YouGov poll found that 35% of men feel insecure about their social standing, and 45% of men between the ages of 18 to 34 reported concerns about their social status. And that was brought to you by GQ. So the pursuit of social status is costing men their values, the drive to climb the social ladder, comparison. We're often prioritizing status over authenticity, leading to choices that conflict with values. Let's get into it. Matt, when you hear me talk about social status and popularity, what first comes to mind with you, Matt Freed, and how you handle that, or how you talk to your colleagues, clients, and perhaps just how you go through life thinking about, you're a 40-some-odd-year-old man. How do you think about social status, Matt Freed?
I think about this a lot, Keith. This is a very important topic. What you're really touching on here is like the root cause of why I help men with their health, right?
Yeah.
Or one of them, right? So it's yes, we talk a lot about fat loss and awesome training tips like Chris just gave and things like that. But really, for me, what comes to mind is even you let off the show with the sad news of the hockey player Johnny Gaudreau passed away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we never know when our time is going to come. We really don't, right? So some people think it's morbid to talk about that, but I tend to think the opposite. I think it's actually, invigorating and inspiring to talk about the fact that we have a clock ticking. Maybe we have 4,000 weeks or so to live on this earth on average. And so do you really want to spend that time chasing external validation? I'll throw another quote at you right now, and I want to hear some feedback. Sam Harris, who, the founder of Waking Up, he says, "You will never achieve happiness." So that's a very short quote. You will never achieve happiness. It's 5 words. Yeah. But think about that, right? Happiness is not something you can achieve, right? Is it good to achieve? Is it good to strive for achievement in work, professionally and personally? Yes, of course. I'm not saying don't try to achieve. We should all try to achieve things. But happiness is not something you can achieve by getting likes, by getting money, by getting clients. And so, I've fallen into that trap at various times over my life, but I've found that the less I try to chase the outcome and the more I focus on the process and the journey, the better results I get anyway.
Get him, John.
Oh man, that is so, I cannot tell you how much I agree with that. And that applies to everything. Like with clients, I say, listen, you got to stop focusing on the finish line, because when you're focused on the finish line, you're not focused on the tasks we need to do today to make sure that we maximize today to get closer to the finish line. So people get looked at. It's really what it comes down to is they're distracting themselves from maximizing their 24-hour loop, which is a different phrase for the day, because a lot of times people say a day just bounces off. Say, look, we live in a 24-hour loop. Did you maximize your loop today?
Yep.
But brother, I cannot tell you how much I agree with that. That's awesome.
John, stay up there because I got a question for you, pal. And then Marty, I'm gonna get the same question for you. John, in your wrestling career, I gotta think that this whole idea was rampant, where men were losing themselves within the circle to what perhaps the public and what everyone else thought that they wanted them to be compared to who they were. Now, as I'm getting to know you, it's clear that, you've been very strong with your own human, and you're like, here's who I am. I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to be who I am. If you don't like that, get out of my circle. But John, you've been around a lot of lot of egos, a lot of gentlemen that are trying to achieve some pretty big things. Was this contextually an issue, Jon, in those circles, going to the wrestling world, the powerlifting world, the bodybuilding world, where guys were actually, they lost themselves in that journey? Jon Andersen?
Well, I think those are the guys that don't have good careers. I mean, especially, here's the thing. When you get to the highest level, like the level I competed at, everybody, like in strongman and in bodybuilding, everybody had to win a national championship to be on the stage that I was on. And once you get there, the last thing you're doing is comparing yourself to other people, because you have to maximize yourself to be competitive. As soon as you lose your focus on your own, making the maximum amount of progress you can make, the gig is over. Somebody else comes and takes your spot.
Yeah, it's actually as simple as that, right? And I never thought about that, but you're right. Everybody there is there for a reason, and they've probably for the most part put ego aside. And if you don't have that edge, you are going to lose your spot, right? So
I mean, there's massive egos. Don't get me wrong, massive egos. Because in essence, if you cultivate the ego properly in these settings, it actually helps you perform, because you believe you're the best, and that's what you need to believe to compete at that level. But the guys that are letting their ego get in the way and comparing themselves to others, they're the ones that don't make it that high up the ladder.
Yes. Marty, Matt, looking at you guys, especially you, Marty, to start with. Social media, it's forcing everyone, but forcing men to live a lie. The pressure to appear successful online is pushing women, let's lean into men to project a false version of themselves. Marty, talk about these unrealistic standards and how is the pressure to keep up a perfect image affecting men's mental health? And then, Matt, I'm going to ask you the same question, because I know you're dealing with men clients all the time as well. So I can only imagine there's times they're knocking on your door, and perhaps the first conversation is the emotional distress that they're in. But Marty, starting with you, talk about the unrealistic standards that society keeps up about, men's image and so forth. Christopher Martin.
Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. So the social media is forcing you to compare yourself to people. You comparing yourself to someone who you're doing better than. And the thing now is entrepreneur. But I got friends that have 9-to-5s that are doing way better than entrepreneurs. So you're thinking you're less than because you don't have your own business, when in reality you're doing great. I'm 31, so a lot of my friends are late 20s, early 30s. Like some of us are doing great for our age, better than our parents were doing at our age.
Yes.
And so it's all about your perspective. And then for men, as far as dating, the women comparing themselves to other women force the women to have unrealistic expectations of the men, right? And you can't feed into that either. You can't date those women with the unrealistic expectations. You're frustrated with the girl you're currently dating because she thinks you're supposed to have her on a private jet flying to a different island every month. When the people who can afford to do that, they're not even doing that. So where are you getting this from? Yeah. Instagram. So yes. It's a real issue.
What about you, Matt? Guys coming to you looking for help, is one of the first things they're saying is that I'm emotionally messed up, Matt, because I'm comparing myself to everybody. And is that conversation a conversation you're having with your clients, Matt Freed?
That usually comes up in sometimes not in the first conversation, but it usually comes up pretty quickly, because a lot of guys come to me for help with weight loss, and then very quickly we're not talking about food, we're talking about emotions. And yes, and as it pertains to social media, this is to get a little more specific. Like when you think, we talk a lot of, we're really glad we're talking about this today, because we talk a lot about women and social media and what they have to compare themselves against, the bikinis and the photo and the magazine covers and models, but men have that too,
Yes.
So, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I don't take I have a very good body. I very rarely though, do I post pictures of myself with my shirt off, because it's just not my style. And also, like, if I think about it from the perspective of a guy who's a bit overweight, or maybe even very overweight, like he's going through his Instagram feed and he's seeing all these other influencer guys with their shirts. That's what he thinks he has to compare himself against. But those guys have been doing that for 20, 30 years. And like, that's just not realistic and this kind of thing. So it's a problem for men too. That comparison is the thief of joy, as Christopher said. you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can relate to that growing up, right? It's it gets in your head and messes with you, and you find ways to figure it out. And talk about it, frankly, has been my experience, to talk and work on moving that comparison out here. So we're at the 50-minute mark of the show here, Jon Andersen. We are going to move over to lifestyle tip of the day. We've had a great week of them, and then we're going to come back and do a creator spotlight and keep the conversation going around social status and popularity. And I'm glad you raised it, Matt, because we're always talking that and Marty, you said it too, it's always females, right? It's always about, females are the ones that are, and there's nothing wrong, but society is leaning to females comparing themselves. Men, I know you're all comparing yourselves too. I know you are. We all are, right? So let's work on ways that we can work that out of our brain here. But Johnny, let's get to the lifestyle tip. I got your music. I'm going to update the music this weekend, but right now the music we have coming in for you is, and it sounds just like this.
You
gotta do John better than that.
All right. As always, we are going to keep it simple. We wake up and we we get up and we get moving, and most people end up having a hard time in the morning, having a hard time maximizing the morning, having a hard time having a good morning. So here's the tip. When you wake up, the first thing you need to do is drink a tall glass of water. I would suggest taking that water and actually putting it in your bathroom, putting it in your bedroom. So literally it's right there. When we sleep, we get dehydrated. And when we wake up, if we don't allow the body to hydrate, we never really truly wake up. So one big glass of water right out of bed will literally change the game. I cannot tell you how many of my clients, how many people in general have told me that just the simple task of drinking a glass of water first out of bed is a complete game changer in their morning, which then rolls into having a better day. So keep it simple. One glass of water right out of bed to have a good day.
Simple tip from Jon Andersen, lifestyle tips. Get that water going, man. You got to get the water going. It's the first thing you start your day with, the last thing you end your day with. And that's, it's Johnny, everybody's looking for hacks, eh? Most humans are looking for like this super simple trick, or they want like the secret medicine to success, when in reality, it's these: get your sleep, get your water, manage your carbohydrates, single ingredient foods. I know it's cliche, but the fact of the matter is, Matt Freed, Jon Andersen, it's truth.
It's all the things that are so not sexy. It's like all these things are like, they're boring, so to speak.
Yes.
But they work.
Yes.
And when you're searching for that sexy pill, that sexy potion, all you're doing is distracting yourself from the real magic, which is your daily habits.
Yeah, exactly. Maddie, I see you nodding your head there, man. You're leaning into that one too, eh?
I mean, it's one of my favorite things. Every morning I have a mason glass prepared in advance, usually 4 or 5 days of them. With a few, you could start with just water, like John said, but the first thing I do every morning, the very first thing that I've been doing every morning for years, is hydrate. And the other thing I do every day without fail, like Chris said earlier, is some form of mobility, even on non-training days, to prevent injury.
So John, what's that? That's not a gallon, man. That's not a gallon, John. What's that?
I was going to say today, brother, you whooped me. Put yours up. Today yours is bigger.
And I was up earlier than you.
Today yours is bigger, brother. Did you empty the clip before the show? Is that what happened here?
It's bigger every day.
I didn't. Oh, so Matt's holding his up as well. So I'm going to pull mine out too and hold mine out too. So
man,
I see we're all comparing right now this morning on the show.
You guys got to step it up, man.
Well, I guess it depends on, whoever's bigger tells us who mastered their domain before the show.
I already finished my first jar, so this is my second.
I never had a problem mastering my domain, man.
You don't remember what mastering the domain is, do you?
I do, and I'm telling you, I don't have a problem with it.
There we go. Good. I like it.
And what did Matt say? I finished mine already this morning. Is that what you said, Matt? What did you finish this morning, Matt?
A little prematurely, maybe.
Kristina, get your boy. Christina, get your boy.
Oh, Matt is fitting in just perfectly well into the show. Matt's been around. Matt's like, oh, I know what I'm getting myself into. Hey, Matty, that's awesome. So, boys, the American Journal of Men's Health reported in 2022 that 60% of men over 40, Matt Freed, they worry about the physical effects of aging. And I'm sure guys are knocking on your door. And same with you, Jon Andersen, going, oh my God, I'm getting old. What the hell am I going to do? 70% of men surveyed by AARP in 2023 last year expressed concerns about aging. 55% actively trying to combat the signs of aging. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Marty, looking at you before we go back to the old guys in the group here. You're not 40 yet. Is aging something on your mind, Marty? Like, do you think about aging, or do you think about it more now because we do this show, or is it really not part of your thought process, Marty?
Yeah, I think about aging. I mean, I already told y'all, I know y'all think I'm just a young whippersnapper, but you know, my body from 24 to now at 31, it's not the same. Like, I can't just get up and go like how I used to. Like, my body feels way different. So I can only imagine how y'all feel.
41, then wait to every decade. It's like this massive change. And I'll tell you right now, brother, just keep whooping Father Time right now, because the more you kick his ass right now, the less momentum he comes down the line. I can't tell you how many friends that I have in their 50s and they're done, man. I'm just getting started.
Yeah, I see that a lot, man. I see that a lot. And then they think there's no turning back, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
I have to pause here and just do a little welcome, because we have not had the pleasure or the presence of this human being on the vertical stream here. But he's like, oh my God, it's a whole different world over here. And you are right. Future. Good to have you here on the vertical stream, brother. You found us over here. I know you're hanging on the horizontal over there, but I'm glad to have you here in the vertical stream. Glad to have you here, and I hope you're having a great trip over there on the other side of the world over in the future. It's funny, I got your picture and like, expectations versus reality, but I know you're working hard there. So, Enzo, good to have you here in the lab. Good time is like, I'm one of them at 49. Matt, when guys come knock on your door saying, I need help, I'm overweight, I need to lose weight, I need to get my health in order, are they offering in those first conversations that, holy shit, man, I'm getting old and I need some help? Is that one of the first things on their mind, Matt Freed?
You know, I'm actually going to say no. In most cases, their guys' pain points are more immediate, top of mind. Like, okay, I couldn't get my pants closed yesterday, or I can't fit into my own clothes, or I tried to run up a flight of stairs and was out of breath. So yes, guys are sometimes thinking about the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, but that's often not until they're like, maybe they have a friend, you know, if something brings it to their attention, like if God forbid, if someone gets sick or worse or hurt, then that brings it to top of mind. But on a day-to-day basis, actually, I'm going to say that's more of like a behind the scenes thought for many guys. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's funny. I read an article this week too, and I don't have it in front of me here, but the ages of 40 and the ages of 60 are the 2 points in our life where we change the most. I know, John, you and I talked about this a little bit last week, I think, but at the age of 40 and at the age of 60 is when our body's like, okay, you're now 60, your body's going to change, right? So I know myself, I am more aware of aging than ever. I think about it. I started thinking, okay, so I'm 52. How many years I got ahead of me compared to what I have behind me? But what it does for me is it just makes me think about what I want to do when I'm 75 or 80, which is go trekking with my kids. The idea of longevity. Right, longevity is important to me, and that's kind of what motivates me. And that's, you know, the point of the show is to help guys thinking about how they can hang out with the grandchildren. You know, John's a grandfather. I know every single day in his mind, he's thinking, okay, how can I raise my grandchild and show her the habit stacking that I've raised or done, and show her these type of things. And it's about longevity. It's less aesthetics. John, we were teasing yesterday about being handsome. No, it's about living a long time, isn't it, John?
You know, it's excuse me, it's kind of a trip because so many people in our world, they don't really have the type of self-love and respect for themselves that they should.
Yeah. Yes.
And because of that, they're not thinking, man, I want this life to go a long way. And I'll be honest, I was a victim of that. And I don't call myself a victim often, but there was a period of my life in the first part of my life where I was like, having this really long life really wasn't part of my focus because I was having a hard time. But then once I really learned to accept me and learn to unapologetically be myself, respectfully, of course, then I started thinking, man, I want to live to be 100 years old. I want to stretch the limits of life, just like I stretch the limits of everything else that I do. And it all came from me basically learning to love myself.
When did that happen for you, Jon Andersen? What age would you say?
I mean, it started, when I found my passion, but realistically, it kind of never stops. I mean, for me, I learned to love myself a little bit more every day, and it's like it's almost like the relationship with my wife. If you're investing yourself into a relationship, whether it's yourself or someone else, that relationship should continue to grow. And that's exactly what my relationship with myself does. Every day, every year, it just gets better.
Maddie, I'm going to ask you a vulnerable question right now and put you on the spot. Do you find yourself loving yourself daily, or is this something? If I can ask you, is this something that you struggle with, you battle with, and you have to work at every single day within your own mirror? Is this idea of loving yourself, Matt Freed?
Great question. I don't struggle with this anymore, but I did when I was at my unhealthiest point in life, which is when I was in my early 20s, right? Yeah. So that was a big problem for me then. Once I overcame that, once I learned to start to love myself, that was really what got me started on the physical version of me that you see today, right? But I had to start to love myself first to get there. So yes, that's a big stumbling block for many people. Thankfully, I went through that earlier rather than later. And then you asked me in the last question, how other guys think about aging.
Yeah.
I just want to pop in how I think about aging. It's like, It's like what Jon said. Like, I have said this many times. I want to live to be 120 years old and be able to do a pull-up, right? Nice. I track my birthday workout every year to make sure I'm getting faster and stronger every year. Nice. I know at some point, like it'll start to tip down, but to date, it's getting better every year. So these are the kinds of things that I think about. And I think other guys can too.
Oh, I like that. Hey, we have somebody here tuning into the show right now on the horizontal stream. And guys, I'm sorry that I go back and forth here, but Rich Ingram, boom, good to see you here, brother. I'm happy to have you here this morning. Gonna give you a little.
Rich.
Was that the wrong sound for Rich?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got to give Rich a good sound, man. Rich is a G, brother.
Okay, so I'm gonna give Rich Ingram this sound effect that he should have got yesterday.
Yes, you should have gotten that.
I could do that.
Yeah. So, Richie, we're giving you the GOAT. Matt Freed, if you don't know who Rich Ingram is, Rich Ingram is an absolute business athlete. He's a machine.
Savage.
He's a beast, man. He's a rock star. He's welcome here every single time. He's had a journey in life, and now he's out killing it at the Leadville 100 and just moving the needle every single day. So we had Rich on the show yesterday, and would love to have Rich back here any day. But team, let's do what we do every single day. We're running about 8 minutes behind right now, which is called the Creator Spotlight. And then we're going to come back and keep the conversation going around. Are you living for likes or living for yourself? And we've been talking about. We've been having a conversation here on social status and popularity and aging and physical decline and so forth. And we're going to come back and keep the chatter going around self-worth. And it all leads together because I know, again, we spend so much time looking at everybody else. It's just as important to look inside of our own mirror. But before we do that, we're going to get over to the Creator Spotlight. It's the time of the show where, in good time, I see you there. I love having you on the show, and I love that we're helping you, man. And I see that you're saying here that you're joining into the show and you're getting motivation and so forth. And I love having you on the show with us. So appreciate that. But listen, let's go to the Creator Spotlight. Today's Creator Spotlight is somebody who I've been following on the feeds for a while, and the dude loves his dad, loves his family. And right off the bat, I'm like, oh, I like this. I like what this guy's up to. I'm just finding my notes here, and he is somebody doesn't join us, but he is in the UK. He's the founder of a business. I'm not going to name it right now. He's got plus 2 million meals sold. He's Forbes 30 under 30. He's an ex-Google guy. He's featured in Business Insider, The Times, BBC, CNBC. He's delivering dishes to the UK's Time. This guy's got energy. Producer Flynn, I'm going to bring you up on stage here. Producer Flynn, I'm going to bring you up. We need to bring this guy onto the show because this guy has tons of energy. When I watch his content, the guy's just jumping off the shelf when he's creating content and so forth. But this guy is from the United Kingdom. He's delivering delicious dishes to the UK's time, taste, and health conscious. Matt, Marty, Jon, I thought it was so appropriate because we're always talking about helping guys, move forward. And to do that, we got to eat. We got to eat. We got to eat good, healthy food. So today's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab. Jimmy, you ready for this one? Marty, drum roll, please. Today's Creator Spotlight for Mornings in the Lab for this Friday is Simi Dillon. Simi, man, I love your content straight up the bat, man. Whenever I see your content in my feed, Simi, I just get jacked up. I want to run through a wall. Your excitement, your energy, the way you talk about your family, the way you talk about your customers, and John, Marty, Matt, he just delivers simple advice. He delivers constantly simple advice that's going to help people build their businesses. But here's what I loved. Today, he made this post. 2 years ago, I made a risky decision. Rebrand the business I'd spent 5 years building. And this is actually interesting because I saw this post a few months ago and he's reposted this, but things had become stagnant and it was make or break. So I put everything we had left into the rebrand. And since then, I love this. We've not looked back. Simmer has become the UK's fastest growing food biz. They've served over 2 million meals, Jon Andersen, and they've helped over 1,000 people to celebrate 2 million meals and 2 years of Simmer. They're launching their biggest offer yet. He's a meal prep company. He does they deliver delicious dishes to the UK. And Simi has done an exceptional job building the business, and I've been watching him all across the platform here. And this one here also jumped out at me as well because he talks about his dad. And I read this one, which was today's the proudest day of my life because of today I retired my dad. Today I retired my dad. That is an exceptional little piece of content that Simi created. So I invite you guys to check out Simi Dillon. His profile's on LinkedIn. If you're in the UK, I invite you to check out his food and the content that he's creating. But Kristina, when I shared with him you this morning, thoughts from you on Simi Dillon, Kristina Flynn.
You on mute, Kristina?
You're muted, Kristina. There we go.
You think the producer would have that sorted out by now? Like I said, his energy is infectious, and the minute you go to his page, you can feel that he's doing a great job. I think people don't quite understand how difficult that is to show energy like that through content. He does a great job. What I also love, he's very much his self, and I think, kind of like John said, unapologetically, respectfully, of course, but he's telling you about the parts of his life that he wants to share. You don't have to share everything in your story, but he's really giving you the behind the scenes look of both the ups and the downs of building a business. And what I love about what he says about the rebrand, we always think about branding as it relates to visuals. What does it look like? What's my logo? What's my font? When it comes down to it, though, after taking that much time in the market, he did a rebrand from a value proposition perspective, from a what do my customers want from me and how am I going to present that differently? And that's what we all need to be thinking about from a branding perspective. It's not necessarily how it looks. It's not your logo. It's not your font. It's what are your values and how are you showing up for your customers? How are you taking what you're learning in doing this work and applying it to your business and taking risks while you're at it?
And his content, Kristina, is always happy. I love you called it out because we're here, what we like to do here in the lab is help people build their personal brands as well. And, you look at Simi's page, he's always happy. So to your point, Kristina, a brand is not just a logo and, a name. It's creating a feeling, it's creating an emotion, it's creating a connection with your audience. Simi Dillon, if you consume any of his content, he will connect with you because he's happy, he's got energy, and he's funny. I enjoy it. He had made this one poster last week. Those bloody immigrants, they're at it again. He says, working hard, starting businesses, contributing to society. He says, I used to ignore racism online because arguing with idiots never ends well. But when I saw rather have an English meal, it did make me laugh, not least because we're a nation that loves foreign food, a nation that relies heavily on foreign workers, a nation that was built by immigrants. Simmer is the UK's fastest growing food. We love English. We love foreign food. I just love Simi's sense of humor. He's self-deprecating. And those of you that are looking to build a personal brand, you can learn a lot from the stuff that Simi's doing on his site. So Simi, I just want to congratulate you, man. You are doing awesome work. Keep it up, brother. I would love to have you here in the lab, hear your story, share your story with our audience, because I think what you're doing can teach a lot of people a lot of different things. So, Simi, congratulations, man. You are named today's Creator Spotlight Mornings in the Lab. Awesome. I love finding people like that. You know, I've been watching Simi. I got aggressive on the platform here a year ago, and I've been watching his journey, and it's fun. It's just fun seeing people succeed. I love it. And I'm thinking the same thing with you, Marty, John, and Matt. When you guys see your customers come to you guys, and you guys see them move from point A to point B to point C, like, how fulfilling is that, Marty, when you see somebody start with you on day one and then a few weeks in you're seeing changes? I'm asking John and Matt the same question, but lean into that excitement when guys are hitting their goals that you're helping them with, Marty.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. And, you know, I believe I'm a winner at heart, so winners love to see winning. Yeah. So, you know, I love that more than anything. And then as a trainer, as somebody who helps people hit goals for a living, that's, you know, it's nothing better than that. It warms my heart.
Yeah, and Matt Freed, you too. Like, I know you take. I watch your content. You're celebrating your customers all the time, but just share that feeling you get when you see a guy calling you up and saying, "I've done it."
It's hard to describe in words. I mean, it's why we're on this phone call today. It's why we all do what we do in one way or another. You know, but when I think about like my purpose in life, and we were talking about happiness and external validation earlier. Right. Like, my purpose is to help, you know, dads live longer, healthier lives, to add years, to add decades of life to this earth. And so when I see a guy achieve that, you know, I don't know. The very few things make me happier than that. Professionally, nothing makes me happier.
I'm getting to know you guys, and I can tell. And I watch John's Instagram feed, and I see his content. And Johnny, I see when you highlight your clients and your customers, dude, that must just feel exceptional, eh? Like, you sit down with a guy who comes to you who's feeling really shitty about himself, and you sit down and talk to them, you lean in.
You know,
it must feel so fulfilling, Jon Andersen.
You know, it's 100%. And here's the thing that I focus on is that I want to basically help people achieve things they did not think was possible. And when I help them do something they didn't think that they could do, that's what I'm shooting for. I call it, as a joke with my clients, I say, look, I want my holy shits. And they're like, what is this guy talking about? And I said, let me explain to you what the holy shit is. And when I want my holy shits, that's because you're saying, holy shit, I can't believe I cut another hole in my belt. Holy shit, I can't believe I'm waking up before my alarm. Holy shit, I've never had this much energy before. Holy shit, I feel mentally more focused than I ever have in my life. So when I'm helping them achieve things they didn't think was possible, that's what hits me right in the heart. And it's the best hit in the world.
The best hit in the world. And we're talking hit here this morning. Gentlemen, if you need some help in the bedroom, we encourage you to do some hit. That might help you guys out. Hey, what's up, Garino? Hey, holy smoke-a-ronies. So I gotta pause the whole show for this one.
Holy smoke-a-ronies is crazy.
Behind you on that one. I'm getting behind you on that. I don't often get on Keith for unapologetically being himself, but holy smoke-a-ronies takes the cake.
Holy smoke-a-ronies. Jason Garino, my neighbor down the road, who's tuning into the show here today. Garino, good to have you here, pal. He's a business athlete at heart. I've known Jason for a long time, and lo and behold, he's probably driving to the shop right now. Jason runs a construction company here in Winnipeg, one of the best construction companies in Winnipeg, man. So, Marty, we're not looking for Jay to sponsor the show at all, but if you guys need to build a building, you might want to call Jay at Contempor Steel, and he can build a building for you guys, and you can get some positive information from the team at the business athlete performance side. Might get some help from Marty and John, but Contempor Steel, Winnipeg. Contempor Steel is the greatest steel company here in the city. Go build your building with Jay and the gang here, and that's exceptional. Jay, thanks for tuning in, brother. Holy smoke-a-ronies it is. I love having you in here. Good.
That's white humor.
Don't put that on the white race. That's Keith.
That's white humor.
Tina, is this a thing, Tina?
I think it's a Manitoba thing, Keith.
Hold on, Keith. Listen, I want to be straight. I go to the Mat for You with Marty coming at you with all this stuff, because I say, look, he's got to unapologetically be himself. But the holy smokeronis is getting awfully close to that line, brother. This is your warning shot, saying, okay, I'm getting a little bit closer to stepping to Marty's side of the fence here.
Oh my God!
Hey, Lauren, we got to work on that with Keith. Lauren, I see Lauren just joined the stream.
Hey, Tina, my name's on the show, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is.
But at the same time, no, Marty.
Friends, we're all about accountability here.
Yes. But here's the thing. Let's be honest. We need our audience to think something along these lines. What is that nutty little fella going to say next? We need that. So if he's going to be a nutty little fella, he's got to say some weird shit.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Matt, did you know that in 2022, a study by Men's Health found that 50% of men struggle with feelings of low self-worth? Tina, stick around for the last segment here. Let's talk about this. Men feel shitty about themselves. And, this is the last topic of the day. We're going to end the week on this. No, I'm sorry. We're going to end this 24-hour period. We don't talk days. We don't talk weekdays. We don't talk months here. We're talking 24. We're talking about John. So we're going to end the loop on this one here about self-worth. Matt Freed, I know there's some similarities around our whole discussion here today, but let's lean into the idea of self-worth, where society constantly undermines it. Men are pressured to tie their value to their career, their financial success, what their body looks like, with their self-worth. How toxic is that mindset, Matt Freed?
It's pretty toxic, and my hunch would be that 50% number sounds low to me.
Yes.
So one thing that comes to mind right away is self-love is not selfish, right? So that's something we talk about. Self-worth. I mean, yes, it feels great to be in good shape and be successful and have money, and those things are all great. But if you don't feel any sense of self-worth before that starts, then it's not just going to just suddenly appear, I don't think, later on. So, I mean, yeah, self-worth. I mean, that stuff has to come from more like, are you showing up for yourself and your family? Are you giving it your all? Are you putting in the effort? Are you, even whether or not you have achieved the thing you want to achieve, are you giving it your best shot? That should feel that those are the things that, can make you feel like you're doing, self-worth. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I got to dive on that, brother. I agree with you. I so agree. And when it comes down to it is are you living your loop? Are you living your 24-hour loop in a way that makes you feel good about yourself? Are you not procrastinating? Are you not making excuses? Are you handling your business? Because when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, if you did the stuff you were supposed to do, you made a little bit of progress. And if you made a little bit of progress, you're going to be happy. And if you're happy, you're going to have some self-worth.
Marty, comments on that?
Yeah, I could talk about this all day.
Please.
But I'll try to make it quick. So, I'm big on you have to have some substance to you, right? So when you have some substance, right? What are your morals? What are your values? What are your principles? What's your work ethic like? There's no way you won't have a sense of self-worth. And it goes back to comparison when we were talking about earlier. What are you comparing yourself to? What are you watching? What are you consuming? And I think a lot of the BS today adds to men not having a sense of self-worth. And then I listen to a lot of guys Johnny's age and Keith's age, because I'm gonna be your age one day. They always say that you gotta be the man before you are the man. So before whatever you envision yourself in 10, 20, 30 years, you have to become the person that deserves to be there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that's another way you get self-worth, when you constantly working to get better. But at the same time, I feel like it's a negative if you don't have a sense of self-worth, but it could be a positive because now you got to work, you got to elevate, you got to improve. So it can be a negative turned into a positive, but I think a lot of guys just look at it the wrong way, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Kristina, leaning into this, what has your experience been with men having this conversation, or friends in your circle, or maybe even leaning into your dad? Like, has this been a topic that is part of your world, Kristina Flynn?
Well, it's absolutely part of my world, and it's something that I've experienced myself. You know, it's something I think so many people experience, men, women, all folks. So recently I actually got a self-worth coach. I didn't even know that they existed. And her name is Rosie Milsom, unbelievable person. And what she helped me to do was to realize I've done a lot of work in terms of personal growth. I've had a psychiatrist since I was 12 years old. And I'm still at 40 going like, I don't get it. There's something missing. I don't understand like why I can't crack this boundary. And what she helped me to do was realize that the core belief that I had that was really keeping me back was I am not worthy and valuable just as I am. As an individual, as a baby who came into this world, somewhere along the way, there was wiring that happened that said, I am not worthy and I am not valuable just as I am. So I need to prove that. I need external validation. Once you know that and you realize the roots of that, you can understand a little bit more where it came from. You might not get all the answers. You can understand a little bit more where it came from. And then you can work on the rewiring, which to me provided me with a lot of hope because it gave me a sense of control. It gave me a sense of, okay, so this is a neuroscience game. I need to start doing the visualizations. I need to start practicing the self-talk. I need to get in the mirror and fake it till you make it a little bit. Feels a little bit uncomfortable to me, but there's a neuroscience aspect of it. That positive reinforcement is going to rewire those self-doubts in your brain and help you get into a position of confidence. And I'll be honest, I could talk about this all day. It has been one of those like catalytic moments in my life. I feel like since meeting her, since realizing this core belief, I will never be the same person again.
It's exceptional. Thanks for sharing that, Kristina. Wow. That's powerful. That's really powerful. I will. So my turn up for this one. I will confess that this is something I have struggled with my entire life for the most part. I would say struggling with self-worth with my physique. You know, it was growing up as the husky kid. Johnny, you've talked about your journey about being the chubby kid. You know, I was. You know, I grew up with that. You know, the fucking word husky. Who wants to be called a husky? I was. Right? Who wants to be called? Who wants to not be able to fit into the pants that everybody else is wearing? I was. Johnny, I can relate, brother. Right? So those things where you're like, so I've struggled with that, you know, and then you know, you go through. I was fortunate to go through a journey, built a business, and had some financial success, and then you start wondering: are people around you because of the financial success? Are they your friends because of are they your friends because of who you are as a human? Are they friends because they want to, you know, hang out with you, or are they your friends because they want to go on a trip or spend your money? Or so I've spent thousands of dollars on fixing my head around self-worth, to be frank with all of you guys, and being very vulnerable right now on the show. And hopefully people are listening in going,
what did that consist of, Keith? Like this, what'd you spend the money on specifically, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I'm glad you did, Marty. Yeah. Talking to psychologists, right? Talking to experts to help me, you know, get through some of those difficult times in my own head. Right? Like looking in my own mirror and looking at myself going, yeah, but I'm still fat. And even though I'm probably very illogically not fat. Or does that person love me because of what I bring to the table, not because of what's in my bank account? Right? Or does that person love me because of how I treat them? Or is it because of, you know, what I can do for them or something like that? And that's been an issue for me, Marty. It's been something I've got to be honest, I struggle with. And it all started, you know, back just body image. So when I saw our topics today and I saw our topics throughout the week, I was like, okay, Uncle Keith's bringing the Kleenex box because my emotions are going to come to the table. And John, when I met you, pal, I come back to you, but because we're the same age, same generation. Like I grew up wanting to be that bodybuilder. You know, on the beach where that guy kicks the sand at you and you're like, oh, fuck you, I'm going to go. You know, I was that dude. Matt, I can see you laughing because I think you can probably relate, right? It's like I was that guy. So I've struggled with self-worth. I've very much have struggled with it. And there's still even some days today that I do. Right. I got to slow down. I got to slow my brain down. You know, we talked about yesterday about being a good parent. I think it all kind of comes together, right? Where it's like, you know, am I a good dad, or am I a good colleague to Marty? Am I doing what I got to do for Johnny and helping Kristina? Right. It's part of my world, nation. It's part of my world on a daily basis. I don't want to, I struggle with it. I'll be honest. I struggle with it still to this day.
And let me jump in and agree with you. I want to be totally transparent. I struggle with the same shit.
Yeah.
100%. But it's how I live my daily loop. Me checking all of my boxes is what manages what we're talking about.
Yes.
And as long as I manage my shit every day, I'm going to be good. If I don't manage my shit every day, I'm not very good. I'm not very happy. There's the Jon that manages his shit, and there's the Jon that doesn't. And I don't like to be the Jon that doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not a happy person. So all I realize is I've got a very, very simple, manageable, actionable plan to make sure that I'm good.
You know, Jon, you said something a couple days ago which really struck me because I very much relate to it. But you're talking about your own mirror, and you're like, you know, when I look in the mirror, I don't want to be, and I don't like that. I'll use your term, that fat son of a bitch that's on the other side of that mirror.
Yeah. If I check my boxes, he stays on that side. If I don't check my boxes, he gets in my reality, and I don't like him in my reality.
Dude, I can relate to that because I look in the mirror every single day, and I talk about your own mirror as a metaphor, but it's absolutely something that I use. This morning, on the other side of this wall, looking in the mirror, and I felt good about myself. I'm like, I just had a run. I got a good lift. I felt I've been eating good all week, you know, and I felt good about myself, Johnny, right? Because I don't want to be the other side. I don't want to be the other guy in the mirror. I don't want to be the 20. And here's the thing, too, Nation, you don't recognize as you get older. Jon and Keith are 52. I'm still that fucking 20-year-old fat kid on the beach. Johnny?
And we'll always be, once a fat kid, always a fat kid. You never, ever get rid of it. You just learn to manage it.
Yes. Good time. I appreciate you too, man, because I can tell you're leaning into this, and this is what we're here to do, which is have conversations like this. And Jack Duggan is like, I was husky too. Like, who invented the word husky? Like, who invented clothing sizes that were husky? Like, Matt, like, what the hell, man? Matt, you've talked about your issues with body weight as well over time, haven't you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time in my life that I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now. So I didn't grow up that way, but there was definitely had a point where I was very overweight, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to like, you know, to not be in the body that, you know, you could have. So I get that, you know? Yes.
Yeah. Here's how I will wrap the conversation up as we move on throughout our 24-hour loop today. This show, you guys are my therapy. True story. This 24-hour loop has probably been the best thing to happen to me as a human being, because I look in the fridge, I see Jon Andersen's face on the eggs. I look at my clock at 4 a.m. I go, okay, I got to get up now. You know, I see Marty's content in the feed going, yeah, we got to fucking rock and roll, man. We got to go, right? And he's keeping us all honest. Right? I see the kind of content Matt Freed puts out there. I see the questions Kristina Flynn challenges me about. This is how I use this show to help me go through shit. And I'm hoping that this is the same kind of content that's going to help you guys get through your shit. That's why we get up here. Yeah, Marty.
I just want to add one thing to that convo. You know, I never been the fat kid, but I've been, you know, the guy who, you know, I've been through a lot of stuff in my struggles with self-worth, sitting on the bench, you know, having guys play in front of me that weren't better than me. You know, you go to the coach, ask him, you know, you tell him your goals, ask him what you can do to get better, and he look at you like you're stupid. The coach is lying to you. I've dealt with it, with the self-worth stuff. But what I can tell you is that those moments, whether it's the fat kid or the kid sitting on the bench, that doesn't define you. What defines you is who you are when you get through it, or who you become when you get through it, right? And I can tell you this, a lot of those coaches that did me dirty, they don't look at me like that kid anymore. Yeah. They asking me to work with them. They asking me to train their kids now. They asking me to do content for them. And a lot of them, I got to tell them no. But you know, I came out the winner, right? Just like, you know, Jon isn't the fat boy anymore.
Yeah.
He overcame that. He learned how to manage it. Matt dealt with his stuff. Keith dealt with his stuff. I'm sure Kristina got through a whole bunch of her stuff as well. So who you are after it and who it turns you into, that defines you. So don't let those low moments define you. I just want to add that.
I got goosebumps, Marty, because you said something here. And there's something you said when I met you on Live in the Lab a few months ago, and I still hang on it today because you brought it up a couple months ago when we talked getting to know Marty, right? When you felt like a loser, like that's a low point in your life on self-worth, right? And you're like, nah, man, I'm not a fucking loser. I'm doing something about this, right? Yep. And I lean into that on a daily basis when I'm feeling shitty about myself. Because I'm thinking, well, hey, wait a minute. Marty was the guy on the bench. Marty was the guy sitting behind the fitness desk. People are going, what the hell you do, man? I thought you were a big athlete. And you're like, oh, I am.
Yep.
Right.
So now you can't even make me feel like that anymore. Like no matter what type of loss I take, you'll never make me feel like that.
Love
that's,
that.
That's a gift that I earned, that I learned from that.
Oh, I love that,
And
Marty.
that's the point. That's the point right there. Because
Yes.
you talk about these people, these coaches that made you feel like shit. And that's a whole other conversation we could have around like the toxicity in coaching and how we grew up and what that looked like. But all these other people were making you feel like shit. Now they're coming to you and they want to work with you. The thing is, without them or with them, you still feel the way that you feel. You don't need them to come to you to say, great, now I'm worth it. You're already worth it. Does it make sense? And is it like a nice little moment when they come to you? Yeah, it is. But you don't need them to still feel that worth. And that's the important part.
Yeah, that's exceptional. So we are working towards wrapping up our show. The loop is almost over, but I really want to address some comments in the feed because we clearly have touched a nerve, team. Enzo, today I have mentally struggled. It was so hard to keep going in the difficult times. Now, guys, he's trekking hours on end right now, Johnny, Maddie. He's walking at 10 p.m. in the middle of nowhere, no service, still trying to make it to the site I needed to be. So Enzo's rock and rolling. Good time comes in with I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you as well. And Jack Duggan, look at this, Johnny, Marty. The last 2 days are incredible. He came yesterday and he's back today. I realize I'm not alone. You're right, Jack, you're not. Support is the greatest tool to human beings, and that's why we do this show. And Jack's like, hey, how you react to the criticism is what defines you. And then Enzo, man, I'm really proud to share this comment because, without you, we can't do, we're not doing the show either. But Enzo's like, this show has changed my life. From all those months ago when I found you and Marty, it has changed me as a person and in a good way. It gives me a different perspective of life and how to move forward. And then Jack Duggan, kudos to you, Marty. Great story, pal. And I thank you for sharing that. So as we wrap it up today, I want to publicly call out Matt Freed for joining us here and being vulnerable, sharing your story.
Yes.
Never hesitating to join our conversation. Matt, you're a true business athlete. You're a friend of the lab, family member of the lab. We love having you around. You're always welcome here, pal. You really always are. I love your input. Love what you have to say. Closing comments from you, Matt Freed.
I really appreciate that. And I think I love the lab because it stands for something. It's bold, it's audacious, and that, and you're bringing real topics that help people. So, I'm happy to join anytime you guys want to have me. This is great.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Matt.
Right on, brother.
I really do. Johnny Andersen, go through the loop today, pal, as we wrap it up, buddy. Go through your loop today, man.
Oh man, I got a fun day ahead of me. I'm gonna get a training session. I'm gonna be doing some content, doing some collabs. So it's
Nice.
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. I mean, it's like every day we have the opportunity to live a beautiful day in a beautiful state.
Yes.
Never miss that opportunity.
Love that. Love the attitude, John. I love the attitude you bring to the show every single day. CMartyFit. I love the glasses, brother. Bring them back daily, man. They're fucking awesome. What do you got going on today, my man?
We got some meetings, podcast tonight, haircut. So I get fresh real quick, get fresh braids,
Nice.
so I'm gonna be fresh for y'all on Monday.
Nice.
And just probably do some stuff around the house. I need to clean up. So it'll be a cleanup day.
Oh,
that's about it. Yeah.
Tina, we can have a conversation around domestic responsibilities with men in the coming shows.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I say this when I have guests, and I'll be like, say I'm like sorry for the mess. They're like, this isn't bad at all. So, yeah.
Tina,
another subtopic that came up is we talked a little bit about parenting, and so how some of the stuff we talked about today, we tend to pass some of that on to our kids. So that's just food for thought for the future.
Yeah, well said, Maddie. We'll bring that up. That's a really, really, really good topic. Tina, what's going on for you today, there, kid?
I'm packing up my kids. We're gonna go to my parents' place out in the country. We're gonna hang out there, go to the beach. So if you've ever packed up kids to try to go anywhere, it's hours and hours of work to get 1 hour of playing. So that's what I'm living for today. But I'm excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Me, I'm just I'm digging it out, man. We got the show. We got next week. We're planning. I got a lot of things happening here today, which I'm really excited about. But less about today. Quick little reach into yesterday. I spent a half an hour with somebody yesterday. I had a meeting with a guy, Mario Hernandez. Mario, what's shaking, brother? Kristina, I got to bring him up to you. Mario is doing exceptional things down in Austin. He's got a company called Noble. He is a social impact entrepreneur, changing humans' lives daily. He's doing awesome stuff. Check out Mario Hernandez on LinkedIn. I had a great meeting with him yesterday. We're going to bring him on the show in the coming weeks. So I'm less about today and more about what happened yesterday. He is exceptional. But listen, let's wrap it up. Today, great show, guys. Great week of topics. Kristina, thanks for your help. Matt, thanks for joining us today. Marty, you're awesome, brother. John, I love you, man. Business Athlete Nation, all of you that tuned in. Jack, Enzo, Good Time, Rich Ingram, Lauren. Who else we got, Marty? We got Garino.
Brother, hurry up. I got to pee.
Johnny, get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We're getting out of here.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
See you guys.
Thank you, brother.
All right.